Hey everyone, Rin here, and thank you for coming. And tonight we're going to be taking a deeper look at a rare sports drama film that somehow managed to slip in right under my radar. Starring Halle Berry in what is also her directorial debut, this film comes to us streaming on Netflix, released on November 24th, having had a limited theatrical release on November 17th. From its world premiere at the 2020 Toronto International Film Festival to a top 5 spot on the world's leading streaming platform, this Michelle Rosenfarb screenplay packs quite the punch. Here are my thoughts on Netflix's Bruised. Welcome back everyone, and this week I finally had the pleasure of sitting down and watching Bruised. Now, let me start by saying this movie completely came out of nowhere for me. Prior to this week, I had actually never heard of nor knew of the existence of a mixed martial arts film starring the illustrious Halle Berry, because believe me, if I had, I would have been all over it. The journey of Bruised is actually quite an interesting one, as upon further research, I learned that the film was originally supposed to be directed by Nick Cassavetes, the celebrated director, writer, and actor who brought us such gems as 2002's John Q and 2004's The Notebook. Going a step further, the film was also supposed to star Blake Lively, and I can definitely see the appeal in what a Cassavetes-led film with Lively at the point would have looked like in the context of the movie. But let me say this, Halle Berry and the team around her in this outing put on quite the show. I have been a fan of Halle Berry, honestly, since before I can really remember, having grown up in the early 2000s when the words beauty, grace, and skill were synonymous with her namesake, having taken part in some of Hollywood's and pop culture's favorite theatrical pieces, from Boomerang, Strictly Business, Jungle Fever, and Why Do Fools Fall in Love, to The Program, The Call, Monsters Ball, and the entirety of the Fox X-Men universe. Even as recently as 2019, she still manages to be my favorite part of whatever film she pops up in, having had an amazing showing in John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. I say all of this to properly lay the foundation for what I will now share with you in my thoughts on this film. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie for everything that it was, and possibly for a few things that it may not have intended to be. For those unaware, I am a huge UFC fan, in part because of my love for wrestling sports entertainment. In my youth, there was seldom a Monday night that went by where my uncle didn't take up 2 of the 3 televisions in our home to record that week's episodes of Monday Night Raw and eventually WCW Nitro on the bleeding edge of technology, VHS. At the time, 3 of the WWF's mid-card draws were Steve Blackman, Dan the Beast Severn, and Ken Shamrock, the latter 2 who doubled in both the WWF and as fighters in the UFC, which at that time I had no knowledge of. My interest for mixed martial arts was later piqued again several years later by the arrival of Anderson the Spider Silva, as I have not missed a UFC pay-per-view since his defeat of Chris Lieben in June 2006 at Ultimate Fight Night 5. I provided all of that background information to say now that a movie like Bruised brings about the rare opportunity for me to have not one, but 2 of the things that I covet packaged together into one presentation. And Bruised does so in a fashion that I believe pays homage and does justice, no pun intended, to both. The story itself of Jackie Justice, a down-and-out former UFC fighter who rode a 10-0 undefeated streak before being beaten and embarrassed in her last bout, is an interesting tagline alone. And when you add the dramatic elements of alcoholism, depression, anxiety, and childhood trauma, and blend them with the arrival of a child who in turn is just as burdened as his mother, whom he believes to be dead, I don't really know how you can fail with an actress of Halle Berry's caliber. Also starring the likes of Adan, Canto, Sheila, Atim, the always graceful Stephen McKinley Henderson, and Shamier Anderson, the film offers quite the surprising, dramatic, and emotional blow, and the performances by the leading members of the cast were all great. To date, I have never seen any other work from Sheila Atim, but going forward, that will no longer be true, as I am now a fan, as I really enjoyed her presence here, as well as the Bobby character as a whole. Danny Boy Jr., who portrays Manny, Jackie's son, had a good outing, and it was nice seeing him here again after his portrayal of young Will Reeves from HBO's Watchmen. The tone of the film does vary a bit, but I felt that it was in line with the pace of it all, so it didn't really bother me much. The score, done by none other than Terrence Blanchard, seemed fitting for the atmosphere of the film and never seemed out of place with the upbeat on-screen activities. Everything within the film itself happened as one would expect, and at the end, I can't say that I was too let down by the outcome of Jackie and Lucia's fight. Plus, getting to see Valentina Shevchenko in action was also the added bonus we didn't know we really wanted. The relationship history with Jackie's mom and her own demons, along with the weight of what Manny has gone through and is unwilling to talk about as he won't even speak, buoys the film's main plot line and adds the necessary depth to what could have been just another rock'em sock'em glory slugfest. The film didn't aim to fix every single problem in Jackie's life and button everything up by the time the credits rolled, and in that, I believe I found even more delight with the movie as the film captured the hardship of what a trek back through the darkness can truly look like, and that sometimes just being in the fight and willing to work at and against your tribulations is triumph enough. For me, Bruised can now join the ranks of my favorite fight dramas, such as Frank Grillo's Kingdom TV show, Tom Hardy's Warrior, and even 2008's Never Back Down. In closing, I would highly recommend this film for you and your family. The charm is there, and the payoff of watching a mother struggling and succeeding in some ways on her path to redemption make it well worth the watch. And as I am a completionist, having just seen Halle Berry attend many of the recent UFC 268 festivities, it gives me an even greater sense of appreciation knowing she is truly a fan of the craft. I will of course be continuing to cover all live action Marvel and Star Wars Disney Plus content and films from all walks of life that I have the pleasure of watching. And if you feel so inclined, I would love to have you back here week in and week out to continue to cover it all with us. Again guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and click that bell for notifications if you've enjoyed our content here tonight. Jump down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. And while you're at it, be sure to check out some of the other content here on the channel. All of the necessary links are listed here below for you to keep up with the coming content and shareables. Please be sure to follow me on all social media platforms. Or just the one you use most frequently. We are slowly but surely building a community here, and I would personally love for you to be a part of that. And last but not least, we have a merch store. So whether you see something you like or just simply want to support the channel, head on over to our shop and grab something, or grab everything. But again, thank you so much guys and gals for visiting here with us today. I really appreciate each and every viewing minute of your time you've given us. There's loads of content we'll be sending your way, so I'll be seeing you. But for now, be blessed. And it was written.
Across the nighttime, the city sleep inside. Yeah, hear her voice, shake my window, sweet seduce inside. Yeah, send me out into the nighttime.